was sitting here this morning. It's beautiful. It's going to be 70 in North Carolina today. And there's this wonderful mother, beautiful woman who you may or may not have heard about. And somehow her story seems so important to tell because she's no longer here to advocate for herself. Her name is Jennifer Dulos. And Jennifer was murdered by her estranged husband. Wealthy family, mother of 5 children, and this was in 2017. She wanted a divorce. He was sort of this kind of just trash, I guess, you know, in it for the money. He was married, and she had met him at maybe Brown, and then he got divorced and they got married 6 weeks later, which is probably her only fault that he was after her, you know. And so they have these 5 children, 2 sets of twins, and he was having an affair with a woman who is currently on trial and wanted to move her into the house with Jennifer. And Jennifer was like, nope, I'm out. And so she was concerned for herself, and she should have been. So a trial started a couple weeks ago, and this is important. Jennifer's family said this. Her friend Carrie left. As this trial begins, it is crucial to remember who is at the center. Jennifer, whose 5 children have lost their mother, and as an eventuality, both parents, said her friend Carrie left in a statement on behalf of family and friends. Jennifer's family and loved ones have lost a loving daughter, sister, cousin, and lifelong friend. And so I know someone who has been sitting at the trial, and I think it's heartbreaking. So Fotis Dulos, who killed Jennifer, also took his own life as he was going to be held responsible for the crime. And it's really, you know, it's funny, we talk about mental health and people that take their own lives, and, you know, we worry for people, but then we never talk about the narcissists out there that take their own lives because they just want to deflect responsibility. And I think a prime example of that is Fotis Dulos and Brian Laundrie, right? These are people that are mean and rotten and terrible. And it's, you know, women are the most at risk when they leave a relationship. And it just boggles the mind to think, one, that you would do it, and two, that you think you're going to get away with it. Like, everybody needs to watch Dateline, right? You ain't getting away with it. Your phone tells a story. Cameras tell a story. You will be caught, you know? You will be caught. And then at the end of the day, 2 parents are dead. It's just terrible. So this trial, because Fotis Dulos took his own life, Jennifer Dulos was murdered by him. The trial is for Michelle Troconis. Michelle Troconis was arrested in connection with the disappearance and death of Jennifer in New Canaan. And the trial is at Stanford Superior Court. So Michelle Troconis and her daughter were living with Fotis Dulos at the time of the murder. So what the jury has to decide is, was Michelle Troconis involved, or was she clueless? I'm no expert. You know, I'm a mom, but I'm a mom. Do you know how easy it is to tell when someone's lying? It's really easy. So you want to tell me that this woman who lives with him, and the biggest evidence against her, so Jennifer Dulos disappeared. She dropped off, let's just go back if you don't know the story. She dropped off her 5 children at school the Friday before Memorial Day in 2019. She goes home, and her estranged husband is waiting for her in the garage. Now, he has borrowed an employee's truck, ridden a bike over there. They see him on video riding the bike. He waits in the garage, murders her, and then drives her car out of there. And we never know. Her body has never been found. She was just declared dead maybe a couple months ago. Her SUV was near Waveney Park in New Canaan, but I'm not really totally aware of what this looks like. Both of them were arrested in June 2019. They were charged with tampering of evidence and hindering prosecution. And the big thing you might remember is that there was video of him driving this black pickup truck, which I believe was not even his. I think it was the one he had borrowed. And he stops 30 or 40 times and takes out trash bags. Well, yesterday in the trial, they, and you can watch the trial live, they're pulling out her clothing, which is covered in blood, and he's throwing it away. So I guess he knew that he was a goner, and why they let him out of prison. They should have kept his ass right in jail, but they didn't. Well, Michelle Troconis is in the truck, in the passenger seat. So she's riding around with him. Now, I am an expert on women. I'm sort of an average woman, maybe a little more outspoken than most. Ain't no woman going to sit in the car while the husband or the boyfriend or the whoever stops 30 times to put something in a trash can and has no idea what's happening. I mean, that is bullshit or loony. Where do you watch the trial? I think it's like Law and Crime. Do a Google search, it'll tell you. YouTube TV, Court TV, something like that. Her mother, who is 90, is raising the children. I mean, what a freaking waste. So anyway, Michelle Troconis knows damn straight that if Thomas is stopping the car, I'd be like, what are you doing? I say that if he's going to the post office. Well, I have to mail these letters. Oh, 29 more times he would stop within a 5-mile radius? Mother fricker, what in the hell? Or what are you throwing away? You nut? What in the hell is in there? You would know, right? Because you would never, ever sit in a car and not ask fricking questions. And that's all I need to know. So I hope that jury listens to all this, and I hope they're like, goodbye, Michelle Troconis, who also has a child. So now her daughter is going to lose a mother. All because people just can't be normal. Like, I always think, if people were more like me, we wouldn't even need a criminal justice system, other than maybe police for speeding tickets. But, like, we wouldn't need jail. I mean, can people just behave themselves? She knew what was happening. She knew. She wasn't any Helen Keller riding around in the car. Now, so they're both arrested in June. In September of 2019, his charges were upgraded. He was charged with felony murder, and kidnapping. And she was charged with conspiracy to commit murder. They both pleaded not guilty. So on January 28, 2020 is when Fotis Dulos tried to kill himself. He was not successful for a few days. He did die a few days later. Now, Michelle Troconis, who's on trial. She was, well, one, her lawyer has really gone crazy because he said that they looked at her phone. They had a search warrant for his house, and they looked at her phone, and they got that thrown out. Which, again, if it's Adrian, and you don't have anything to hide, why would you not care? Why would you care if somebody looked at your phone? Somebody come in here, look at my phone right now. And you know what? I'm not going to get arrested because I didn't do anything wrong. Don't attack me. I think she was guilty. But I also know that that can be how that can be believable to some people. Well, no one's attacking you, but no. I mean, no. A woman in a car that stops 30 times. No. Never met a woman that didn't ask a question. Never. Like, if it were DNA, it would be 1/1,000,000th of a trillionth chance that it's not her. Yeah, why are we stopping so many freaking times? What'd you do? This seems like a concern. We can't find her. Now you're throwing away 800 garbage bags. And her DNA was found on one of the garbage bags. Jennifer Dulos, Fotis, and Michelle Troconis. And her lawyer tried to get that excluded too. Why did he try to get that excluded? Because he knows she's freaking guilty. Imagine how... So I have a friend at this trial, and I think it's so heartbreaking. I think she is like, this feels terrible. This feels terrible. The judge doesn't want anybody to talk to the media. Though I don't know why. I mean, I don't know why if you're not watching, but maybe that's a rule. Anyway, Jennifer deserves... she deserves her day in court, and this is the only chance she has of doing it. Now, she said in this preview interrogation video that she dropped her own daughter off at school the day Jennifer disappeared and ran some errands. And then she went back and had lunch with Fotis at their Farmington home. So Fotis, we know, has just killed Jennifer, slaughtered her in the garage, and puts her in the car, disposes of her body somewhere, cleans up, and then just meets the girlfriend for lunch. And then what does she say? Hey, what'd you do this morning? Oh, nothing. No. Again, lies. And it's enough of a lie that she says, after lunch, we went to Fotis' house to clean it. It needed cleaned. Yep, needed cleaned. A lot of witnesses. Norm Pattis, who was Fotis Dulos' former attorney, who has been charged with obstructing justice and lying. I think at some point he said that he was meeting with Fotis and then admitted that was not true. 2 of Jennifer's children are witnesses. The former employee whose pickup truck Dulos used to drive down to New Canaan and carry out the murder before taking it to a car wash. And he also told the employee that the back seat needed replaced. And the employee was like, well, I don't know if it really does. He was like, oh, it does. We have to replace the back seat. So he replaces the back seat, this employee's pickup truck, but the employee keeps the pickup truck, keeps the seat, the old seat. And lo and behold, Jennifer Dulos' blood is on the seat. Oh, so not Norm Pattis. He's not the one that got arrested. Norm Pattis actually was the one that was honest. Kent Mulwiney, he was a friend of Dulos and former attorney who was charged with conspiracy to commit murder. Norm Pattis said he didn't meet with me. Yeah, people are really, there was a whole pack of paper towels gone. Now, at my house, paper towels walk off, so that wouldn't have gotten me. But the bags were my deal seal. When Dulos disappeared, Troconis, so he was living in this Farmington house with Jennifer and her child. I mean, with Michelle and her child. Jennifer had moved out to New Canaan, so Jennifer was allowed to move like a certain distance away. Maybe it was 95 miles. So she got as far away as she could, rented a house with her children, and she requested an emergency custody order. So there's a 911 call where he is like, I don't know where my wife is. She said she was going somewhere. Well, her smart. Her got the hell out of there. When she requested this emergency custody order, she said, "I fear for my family's safety, and I believe him to be highly capable and vengeful enough to take the children and disappear." He was granted visits with the children, but then defied court orders by allowing Michelle and Troconis and her daughter to be present during the get-togethers. And the judge at the time said that Fotis had pursued his own self-interest and exposed the children to his paramour, Michelle Troconis, and her daughter, in complete disregard of the court's prior orders and the effect his actions were having on the children. Troconis' attorney, John Schoenhorn, didn't want to be able to show the interrogation interviews, didn't think that her DNA should be shown. And at this point, if you're saying that DNA is someone taking your DNA is a violation of your constitutional rights, again, Joe Schoenhorn, dummy attorney, watch the news. You can go pick up a cigarette butt and take somebody's DNA. It's already been ruled. There's no reason to, who thinks that? I just hate when, I'm married to a criminal attorney, but I sure hate a lot of them. My husband would never defend somebody he knew was guilty, particularly of this crime. Maybe if you stole $1. So Fotis, Jennifer Dulos and Fotis are married. Well, the whole reason their marriage goes awry isn't because he's, a total louse and uses all her money, but he has an affair with Michelle Troconis a year before. And then her defense attorneys, get this, said they believe Jennifer may have staged her own death amid divorce troubles. That makes sense. She's so vengeful that she pretends to be dead and we never see her again. That makes sense. So what is he throwing away? I mean, how could you say something like that and think people are smart? What the prosecutor believes happened is that Jennifer Dulos was killed at her home in New Canaan after she dropped off her children from school. They believe that Fotis Dulos killed her and that then Michelle Troconis, his girlfriend at the time, helped him create an alibi, clean up after the crime, and dispose of the evidence. So when she said we cleaned up his house, this is long before they knew anything had been found. So I think that pointed to her guilt later, of course she cleaned up at his house. So he had been charged in January 2020, charged with felony murder, and then killed himself a few weeks later while on bail. So this trial is going to go through. This trial is going to go through March, they said. And so yesterday was the bloody clothes that they found. And again, the night of her murder was the night that they were recorded on these video cameras in Hartford, getting out of the pickup truck and disposing of the garbage bags, which when police had gotten Fotis Dulos' cell phone, they were able to see where it stopped, and then they found the bags. And yesterday they showed clothing, zip ties, lots of blood. And again, one of the bags had DNA from Jennifer, Fotis, and Michelle Troconis. But again, Michelle said, I didn't have any idea what was in the bags. I thought they were from one of the houses he was selling. Well, then maybe you'd use a dumpster. Mm-hmm. She also had told the Huffington Post, this is long before, that she thought their divorce was amicable when she moved in with him. So if you're going to lie about that, you're going to lie about a lot of things. Amicable. Yeah, and when she was in the truck that night and he's throwing all this trash away, she said, I wasn't really paying attention because I was on the phone. Oh, okay. Wasn't on attention. Her bra, her shirt, 10 packages of paper towels, cleaning supplies, 2 clear rain ponchos, 4 zip ties, a glove with Fotis Dulos DNA on it, all soaked in blood. And what police think happened is that the pair, I guess because of phone data, they believe that the two of them went back and forth for hours between their home and another property they claimed to be cleaning. Police also found something they called the alibi script. And this was interesting. This was 2 pages written by Dulos and Troconis that detailed their activities on an hourly basis the day Jennifer Dulos was last seen and the day after. So they write this very detailed list, 2 days worth, every hour of activity. So Adrian's would say, 7 o'clock, wake up. 8 o'clock, drop Amos off at school. 9 o'clock, Adrian sits on the couch drinking McDonald's coffee. 10 o'clock, Adrian's still on the couch working on her chapter. 11 o'clock, chapter. You know, like, but what they didn't mention, so Troconis tells the police, well, we wrote down all these actions because our attorney, his attorney told us to. He told us we should write down everything we did that day. Okay, well, that makes sense. Then why did you not put in, we drove around for an hour and dropped off 40 bags of trash? You put in everything else. I took a do then, I TT'd then, I wiped my nose then, but you don't mention that. So if it's really, you can't have it both ways. If it had said that, then yes, but you lied. And again, when you tell the truth, you don't have so much to remember. And I hope your ass sits in jail for a very, very, forever. Because it's important. Now, the arrest warrant also accuses Troconis of conspiracy to commit murder because she presented conflicting stories to police during the 3 interviews, whether she saw Dulos at the Farmington home the day police believed he killed his wife. Now, her attorney says, well, police lied to her and they misled her. And they questioned her in English with no interpreter present when her primary language is Spanish. Let me tell you something. Go watch Michelle Troconis talking and tell me if you think her don't understand English. She pretends not to understand English. Do you ever heard of Hilaria Baldwin? How you say it? Tomato? Oh, tomato. Yes, that's right. That's about like Michelle Troconis. She frickin' speaks English just like Hilaria Baldwin was born in fucking... Oh, God, now Facebook's going to get me. Don't report me. Born in Boston. Pretending to be not an English speaker. The lying that people do. Sorry. The judge did allow the video of the police questioning to be heard in the DNA. Now, Michelle Troconis is a dual Venezuela citizen and an American citizen. So it ain't like she just, popped up out of nowhere. Yeah, how you say cucumber? She was a co-founder of horse riding therapy programs in different parts of the world and also owned her own TV production company in Argentina. Again, she and her daughter were living in Farmington. He's going through this bitter divorce, which she said she thinks is amicable. He owed $7 million in debt. Clearly, he was in a bad place. Now, she said this is interesting. This was about 3 weeks ago. It's been 4.5 years since I was wrongly accused. She wrote this on Twitter, or X, or whatever they call it. I have faith in justice in the jury system. Well, I do too. On the same day that Jennifer Dulos went missing, Michelle Troconis went to a storage unit which had cameras, a supermarket where she took a photo with a robot inside, and she ensured an alibi call was answered on the cell phone Fotis left behind in his office to make it appear he was in Farmington, Connecticut. So she answered his phone that he left on purpose so he could say, look, I was in Farmington at my house. I wasn't anywhere. That wasn't me on that bike. Oh, it did kind of look like me, but no, that wasn't me. No. Mm-mm. And you think anybody that has wrecked a marriage and become the girlfriend of a married man is going to let him just go off and do whatever he wants? No, you're always going to be nervous he's about to cheat on you. You got to keep tabs on him all the time. She probably had that Find My iPhone going ding, 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 ding. She said, I did not know he was doing anything nefarious as I watched him throw those garbage bags around. I knew nothing. Nothing. And Fotis' attorney, Norm Pattis, who was annoying, Norm Pattis said at the time when all these clothes were found covered in blood and a kitchen sponge covered in blood, 30 times. It was 30 times that he stopped. His lawyer said that they presented nothing more than an, quote, awkward set of facts when his client requested custody and was subsequently denied. And Pattis also said this: we are actively contemplating a revenge suicide hypothesis as an explanation for her disappearance. The person said, the suggestion that Jennifer has pretended to kill herself and disappeared, leaving her precious children behind, ages 8 to 13, makes Pattis the most hated man in America. And Fotis Dulos said this at the time: statistically, when this happens, 90 or 95% of the time, it's the spouse. So I understand why people feel like this. I'm in the 5 or 10%. How dumb was he? A home security camera showed him driving her car, pulling out of the garage at 10:30 that morning. She had pulled in at 9, and he pulled out at 10:30. He threw away her license plate and abandoned the car. I mean, I think that my teenagers would be smarter than this. Yeah, what a dummy. Oh, now this is interesting. Michelle Troconis, they did not want this to come out, and it did. She had told police in August that Dulos had, that day, that Fotis had meticulously cleaned a truck he had borrowed from an employee because, and this was her quote, well, obviously, all the evidence says because you showed me a picture of the blood in the door, it's because the body of Jennifer at some point was in there. So at this point, she's admitting, I know it was him. Can the video see it's him driving the car out of the garage? Yes, it can, Rebecca. The employee shared that Fotis kept pushing him to replace the seats in the truck, and he acquiesced, kept the original seats, and handed them over to the police. DNA. Norm Pattis, at the time, said, here is our message to the state of Connecticut. Mr. Dulos is not guilty. We've got 3 words for the state. Bring it on. So Fotis Dulos will never stand trial. The closest we have is Michelle Troconis. And on behalf of the children who have been left without a mother, the world says justice for Jennifer. So with that being said, I'm going to go work on my chapter, and I'm going to turn on this trial, and we're going to say a prayer of thanks for the life Jennifer lived on this earth, and we're going to hope that the jury sees the guilt of this horrible woman who decided her own wants and needs were more important than somebody else's life. And, you know, I say this a lot. I want the best for my children. I love them. I want everything great for them. We're waiting to hear from college this week. I want every door to be opened. But I also would say to my children, I never want more for them to the detriment of someone else. And if we all lived like that, like maybe Michelle Troconis thought she wanted Fotis Dulos. I don't know. But to the depth, and you'd have to kill somebody to get him? Like, how do you raise children like that? And I will tell you, I don't know who Michelle Troconis' family is, but I assume they suck. But Fotis Dulos' family, and you know I love to blame some families for bad kids. His family has never acknowledged they think he totally didn't do it. Nope. Nope. DNA pictures and videos don't lie. He's just this great man, and, you know, it's his greedy lawyers, and what? It's crazy. It's just amazing to me that you could look outside right now and be like, I see snow, and you'd be like, it's not snowing. Oh, yes, it is. I mean, there are people that are like that. You know, my children might turn out crappy. I have 4 of them, so I hope at least one. Then I'll talk about that one. But I'm telling you, if they turn out crappy, I'm going to be the first one to point it out. There's not going to be any like, well, he didn't do that. I'll be like, oh my gosh, I am so sorry that he is so terrible. Because I have no guilt. I did everything I could to raise nice people. And in a lot of these cases, these parents cannot say that. And Jennifer Dulos was raising nice children. Nice children. And all that got stolen away because of some asshole dad. My blood pressure's up. Have a good, what is today? Wednesday.